is the main character of Mutiny on the Bounty? Do you see my first question? So who's the main character?
Yes, I understand, but we have a problem with your voice, the sound.
Uh-huh. Is it?
Main character of this book is the first is the captain of bounty. His name is Captain William White. White.
White?
And mutiny.
Yes.
Mutiny on the bounty start the one on officer of the ship, Fletcher Christian. And continue the mutiny was captain of the ship leave. Этот ship не хочется. Leave bounty with some sailor. And book describe adventure these people after they leave the ship.
So, Elena, do you understand the word mutiny? Do you understand the word mutiny?
I understand very little.
Okay. Would you ask Svetlana to explain the story to you? Ask Svetlana questions to find out about this book, Mutiny on the Bounty.
In the book?
Yes, please ask Svetlana questions about Mutiny on the Bounty, which is the book she read. And I'll help you. So you said that, yes, please. You said that you understood very little right now. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So I would like to help you ask questions so that you understand the story. Okay? No, just ask out loud.
This person's is historical face.
Just historical people.
Historical people.
I don't remember that historical people. I think that the author have a prototype of historical, of history.
Yes. I can tell you, Helena, there was a ship, the USS Bounty, and there was mutiny. But I don't know if the book that Svetlana read, if that is, like she said, a prototype, or if it's the actual events. I'm not sure.
When was this story?
This story was in the sea.
That's where. Where?
When?
When does the story
where?
take place?
In the 18 сейчас как же век-то? Сейчас.
That's fine.
Just a moment.
Yes, of course.
Century. In the 18th century.
It was mutiny on the ship.
Yes, Bounty is the name of the ship. And this mutiny was in this ship.
Bounty is name ship.
Yes.
Bounty is name of ship.
Yes, that's right. The USS Bounty.
Where were this history?
Take place?
On the island, on the sea, on the state.
This history was near the islands Haiti.
I'm sorry, Tahiti or Haiti?
Don't understand.
Which islands? Tahiti or Haiti?
Tahiti.
The first one, Tahiti.
Tahiti.
Tahiti, okay. Tahiti.
Not
Yes.
Haiti. Tahiti.
Not Haiti. Okay.
Not Haiti.
Tahiti. Okay.
Where people? How many people take place?
Are in the story?
Yes.
How many people were in the story? Is that
Участвовал в событии.
oh, took part in the event? How many people participated
Participated. Как
in the event?
Participated. Just a moment. I don't remember. Oh. In the Bounty was 33 sailors and 11 officers and 1 captain. Итого, and 33 plus 11, 43 plus captain, 44 people was in the Bounty when began
When they began.
When began this story.
These books talk about the future with people.
Yes, this book describe life the captain of the Bounty and describe life one of the young officer. It's very interesting was No, узнать.
Necessity or
No.
necessary?
To learn, no, not learn. Знать, no.
Yes,
Узнать.
yes.
Узнать.
To learn. It was very interesting to
Question
learn.
was to learn about life young officer. When began? When began this history? He is 15 years old, and for participation in the mutiny, for participation of the mutiny was punishment is death.
Yes.
And was court suit.
Yes, court. Yes. Probably. The USS Bounty was a military ship. Is that correct?
No, it's not USS.
Okay.
It is English ship.
Okay. HMS Bounty. USS is United States ship. HMS is Her Majesty's ship.
What?
I'm typing it. Her Majesty's ship. Her Majesty is the Queen of England. So all the ships belong to Her Majesty the Queen.
Ее Величество. Her
Yes.
Majesty.
So the British ships are called HMS and then their name. HMS Bounty.
Yes, it's HMS.
Thank you. I forgot that it was the HMS Bounty. Yes.
And was court
Well, probably Marshal Court. Marshal Court is also what we call a military court because this is a military ship. Yes.
not military ship. Just a moment.
Yes.
I don't remember. This not describe about what is the ship.
Where was the court? The court was on the ship?
What?
Did this court take place on the ship?
Was no.
Yes,
Okay. Court was in the Great Britain.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
When this young officer returned in English, it was during 10 years.
Yes.
And was caught.
10 years later? 10 years later?
Just a moment.
Yes.
I don't remember. Not 10 years later. It was 5 years later. 5 years. Peter Haywood is name of the young officer. Lives in one of islands. And once on this at this island прибыл. Go ship. Так неправильно. Go неправильно.
Came. Ships came to the island?
Ships came to island and the all sailors, all sailor who live in this island was prisoners.
They were, yes, taken prisoner.
Prisoners. And when only one of them is Peter Haywood return. Not true. I not true.
Yes, return.
When no.
Okay.
All prisoners was returned on England and was caught, and other sailor was oldest than Haywood, and other sailor was killed for this mutiny. But this young man was сейчас фамилию не помню как. Still lives.
He still lived on Tahiti?
Still lives, а дальше не понял. Don't understand last words.
Oh, he continued to live on Tahiti?
No. He continued live in English.
Okay.
England.
Yes. Yelena, did you understand some of that?
Yes, I understand.
Okay. Would you continue your questions, please?
I have another question.
You have no other questions? Okay, I have other questions then. And if you don't understand something, please, or if you have another question, feel free to ask it. Well, I have a question for Yelena first. Do you understand what a mutiny is? Do you understand the word mutiny?
Mutiny?
Yes. And if you don't, I would like Svetlana to try to explain it in English. Do you know the word mutiny?
I understand.
Okay.
About mutiny.
What do you understand about mutiny? What happens in a mutiny? This is usually
mutiny. Bunt.
I'm not sure, but basically it's frequently a military term where subordinates disobey their superior. That's probably what you understood. Yes?
Yes.
Good. So, Svetlana, the story begins, when does the story begin? Does it begin before or after the mutiny?
The story is during of mutiny. The history begin at day of mutiny.
So it begins at the mutiny, and then when does it end? When does the book end? Where does the book end?
the book and через through.
Yes.
No.
But that's not quite how we would
No.
say it. How
After.
much time later? Yes. How many years later?
No, I understand the question,
Okay,
but
yes.
I don't understand the ask.
Oh.
Through it's через что-то вот.
Yes, throughout or through.
Yes. How I can talk about the interval of time?
Yes, then it would be, let's see, what interval of time do you want to say? How much time?
I want to say, no, I want to say the next one. The book and через 5 years.
Over the course of.
Course
Over
of
the course of, yes, over the course of.
the book and of course of.
No, if you're talking about the end, you have to say ends 5 years later. So the book ends 5 years later, or 5 years after the mutiny. Alternatively, if you don't want to talk about ending, you can say the book covers the mutiny and continues to describe the events over the course of the next 5 years. Okay, so this, if you're talking about what the story covers, what happens in the story, you can say the book covers or talks about, the book describes the mutiny, and then it continues to describe events over the course of the next 5 years. But that is a continuation, not an end. When you talk about an end point, it ends 5 years later. And you said that it has two main characters, yes? The captain of the ship and Peter Hayward?
Yes, it's 3 main characters.
Oh.
It's a captain, and it's Fletcher Griffin who begin this mutiny.
Yes.
And author want to describe leave one of sailor as Peter Hayward.
Yes. So Peter Hayward is just a sailor. He is not a.
I know true. Peter Hayward is a young officer.
Okay. A very young officer. A very young officer. 15.
Yes.
15 years old. And you said who started the mutiny?
Repeat please.
Yes, of course. You said that the book also describes the sailor who started the mutiny. What was his name? Maybe he was an officer. The officer who began the mutiny?
Peter Hayward not begin mutiny.
Right. Somebody else. What was his name again?
Begin the mutiny is Fletcher Christian. He is who he? I don't know. Maybe he is
First mate? First mate?
Помощник.
Yes, that's the captain's #1 officer.
Why? Yes.
That's the most
Yes.
important officer after the captain. First mate is the most important officer on a ship after the captain. Yeah.
Two people was cause reason of mutiny, and other people be involved in the mutiny and must stay to one or two sides of the vessel.
Yes. What was the reason for the mutiny?
I don't remember what was the reason. I think it was a conflict to people.
Yes.
It's a usual situation.
Yes. Between the captain and the first mate?
Yes.
Yeah. So let's ask. We'll come back to the mutiny on the USS Bounty, but I would like you, Svetlana, now to ask Yelena a little bit about the book that she read, or maybe is reading. Yelena, have you finished your book, or are you still reading it?
Yes, I wrote comment, but
It's okay.
take a comment in the old post home reading.
Yes, that's not a problem. Svetlana, could you ask Yelena some questions about what she read?
Yes. Елена, do you like the read English? Do you?
Yes. Do you like to read? Do you like to read it in English?
I think read the English is useful.
Is it enjoyable?
It's question for Lena.
Yes. Yelena, is it enjoyable?
Enjoyable.
Do you enjoy it?
Enjoyable удовольствие. Нравится. I don't know. I think yes. It is enjoyable.
That's good. Okay.
When I understand, I enjoyable.
Yes, it's enjoyable.
I didn't understand, not enjoyable.
Yes. Yes. Svetlana, could you continue asking Yelena about her reading?
Okay. What was most difficultly in reading the books? The book.
Yes, I that speak English and read for English is difficult for me.
1 second. Where was where was Evans describe Evans the book? Where was Evans the book?
This place is South Pole, and books names the coldest place of Earth. This is a story about the opening of the South Pole.
Yes, Paul.
The book about strong man. Strong.
Сильный, мужественный.
A strong man?
Brave man.
Yes. Brave, yes. Is it a story about brave men?
Yes, this is a story about brave and strong men.
In the book describe adventure of one expedition.
Sorry, that was a...
Expedition.
No expedition.
Yes, expedition.
Yes, these books describe two expeditions. Expedition of Englishman Scott and expedition of Norwegian Amundsen.
Yes.
This group men moving together.
No, they started almost one time, одновременно one time, but not together.
At the same time.
They
Sorry.
They have rice.
What do they have?
Rice.
Гонка.
Oh, a race. Race.
Are they was rivals?
Rivals. Yes. Race to be the first man on the South Pole. Amundsen or Scott, Englishman or Norwegian.
Yes. Ellison. Did I hear the Norwegian name correctly? Ellison?
Amundsen.
Or
Just a moment.
Amundsen.
Amundsen?
Sorry.
Yes, of course.
Abby, make a microphone farther. Farther. Дальше.
Oh, thank you. Yes, further. Is that better now, Svetlana?
Yes.
Oh, good. Thank you. Oh, Amundsen. Amundsen. Yes. Thank you, Jelena. It's an unusual name because it was a Norwegian, of course.
How many people start in expedition and how many people finished?
That's a good question.
I don't remember точно,
Exactly.
цифру, число. Exactly figures, but many people is died in this is were better tactic. Their transport was easy skinning and they has dogs. Dogs is transportation. Englishman has a pony. Pony is bad transport for cold place.
Yes.
And Norwegians won the race. Выиграли гонку.
Yes, won the race. The Norwegians won the race, yeah.
How do you think? What was the reason of this competition?
The reason is was first, быть первым.
Yes, was first.
Was first from by South Pole. Первооткрыватель, пионер.
Not pioneer. The first reason,
Pioneer. They want to be a pioneer for South Pole. Неправильно, они хотели быть первыми.
They wanted to be the first, become the first pioneers to the South Pole. The first reason was to become, or the primary reason, maybe would be better. The primary reason was that they wanted to become the first pioneers to the South Pole. Were there any other reasons, Viviana?
I think no. This primary and one reason.
Yes, the one and only reason. The one and only reason. I had a question about the teams. Did both teams make it to the South Pole?
Team.
Team, that's the group. Did both groups or did both teams of people? The British team or group and the Norwegian group. Did they both make it to the South Pole?
I didn't understand.
Okay.
Both team.
Mhm.
Translate team.
Group.
Team is a group. In a competition.
Yes. Both team make to the South Pole, but Norwegian is раньше.
Earlier.
Before.
Yes, before. Yes. Mhm.
And when Scott go to the South Pole, he can see Norwegian flag.
Mhm.
He is very very расстроен, огорчен. Upset.
Yes. He probably was also disappointed. Disappointed.
Disappointed. Disappointed.
Mhm. Because he wanted to be the first. Mhm. Did the Norwegians take many dogs with them? You said that the Norwegians skied and had dogs for transportation. Did they need many dogs?
I don't remember. I think many.
Yes. Mhm.
Dogs is died too. Many dogs died.
Of course. Many dogs died. Mhm. So they all made it to the South Pole. Did both groups make it back to England and to Norway? Did both groups
back вернуться?
Yes.
Go back in the state, but they is все время забываю. Меньше.
Fewer. Less, yes. Less, or the teams were smaller. And you said they were smaller by many men. Yes?
Yes.
Mhm. Did you enjoy reading about this expedition? It sounds like the expedition was very difficult.
I think difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I know about this expedition
Mm-hmm.
before, but I am interested reading
Mm-hmm.
about this event.
Mm-hmm.
I know the details.
Mm-hmm. You know the details?
А как узнала? Узнала, а как узнала?
I found out details. I found out, or I learned.
Found out.
You can, or learned details that you didn't know before. You found out details that you didn't know about before.
Yes. No. No. I did not about dogs and pony, about luggage.
Yes, all of the camping gear.
Camping of Norwegian. Tactics Norwegian is dogs, cars, and camping to way. They
Camping
go from 100 kilometers and make camping.
Yes, make camp.
And go back.
Yes.
And this tactic is good for their цели.
For their goal?
Для их целей. Goals.
Yes, for their goals, yes. What about you, Svetlana? Do you enjoy reading about events you already know about, or about new stories? Do you prefer stories you already know, or new stories for English reading?
I am beginning the book that Елена read.
So you're starting the coldest place on earth now.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I start reading the book. It's a very sad history for me because the history make many people, and after time we remember a lot of people. In this competition involved many people, but reason have two people, and the two people have award. And
have what?
Award. Награда, медаль.
Oh, yes, award. Yes, they receive awards.
And other people we don't know, we don't remember. It's very bad.
Yeah. So when they returned to England and Norway, just 2 people received awards, but so many people had died.
Yes.
Mm.
And these people haven't name in history.
Yeah. It's true. In some books, and I don't know as well about. I do know about these expeditions. I think that some books record their names, but most books have forgotten them. So it is sad. Mm-hmm. Yelena, do you prefer historical novels or fiction? Which do you like to read better?
I prefer historical story,
Mm-hmm.
which is useful and interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And what about you, Svetlana?
I prefer to читать, да?
Yes, I prefer.
I prefer mm, not difficult books before because I want to relax during the reading.
Yes.
We have many problems in the life. We watch TV news and
Problems everywhere.
Conflict, military conflict.
Yeah.
And we have not many time for good emotion.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But I слова забыла, да? But I very like read detective, old detective, Agatha Christie.
Yes, Agatha Christie is fantastic. Mm-hmm.
I like read fairy tale, fantasy, science, fantastic.
Science fiction? Mm-hmm.
Science fiction.
We say often sci-fi. Sci-fi.
Sci-fi
is what we often say for science fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You will go into a bookstore and an area will be labeled sci-fi. Yeah.
Sometimes I read historical book, I read classical book, different book.
So you read
как это по настроению это? Imagination.
Imagination?
Нет, наверное.
No, that's not really for my I know what настроение is. Yes, mood is a better term for it. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I choose book for my mood.
Yes. You read a little bit of everything. You read a little bit of everything. But you prefer something more cheerful.
Yes, I read everything. And everywhere.
It doesn't matter where it is.
I read when I prepare dinner for my family.
Elena, do you read while you're cooking?
What?
Svetlana reads while she makes dinner. Svetlana said that she reads while she makes dinner for her family. Do you read while you're cooking?
No.
When do you read, Elena?
Now I reading is small. I like read in the when I was younger, and I like detective, advantage,
adventure.
Приключения.
Say it again in Russian, please.
Adventure.
Adventure.
And was I very like science fiction, but now I did not very often reading.
Yes.
I have not time.
Yes.
And I think literature is died.
What has died? What has died? Your reading? Your time for reading, or your desire?
Literature.
Literature. Literature has died for you.
Я не знаю, как он. Литература существует, но не имеет такого значения.
Yes, literature. Literature is still there. Sorry, just a moment. There, but it doesn't have the same meaning for me, maybe. Is that kind of... Literature still exists. Literature is still there.
For society.
Oh, you mean in general, not for you. Yes.
I relax when I watch TV, movie, but not when I reading.
Yes. So you read less now than when you were younger.
Yes.
Yeah. I think you're right about literature's changing meaning. Like Svetlana, I read a lot. Well, I read a lot when I was younger, and now I have less time to read. So when I want to relax with my husband frequently, well, not frequently, we will occasionally go see a movie, but we don't often read together. He will read before he goes to sleep, and I read some other times in the day, but reading is less of an activity for relaxation than before. Yeah. Do you have any other questions for each other about your books? I'm curious to know, how many books have you read so far? Yelena, you said you've read The Coldest Place on Earth, but I know you also have talked with Kostya about some of the reading that you have done. So what other books have you read in English recently?
From audio file, I listen about coldest place on the edge.
Yes, Earth.
Sure.
That's all. That's fine. What about you, Svetlana? What have you read so far?
I read The Mutiny on the Bounty and during.
Yes. Yes. At the same time.
At the same time, I listen audiophile at the book, and when I begin read Coldest Place on the Earth,
yes,
I listen audiophile too.
Yes, yes. So you listen to the audio file and you read it.
it's very useful when I show the text and
Yeah.
when I listen the pronouns.
Yes. Yes, it helps a lot with pronunciation.
Yes.
Mhm. Yes, I think that you're right. Mm. It's very difficult, I think, to read in a foreign language. So it's very good. I think that this that you are reading and listening to books. Not all books have audio files, so it's a big advantage. Hmm. Do all of the books that you are reading in English have the audio, the book on audio?
We have 4 books,
Mm-hmm.
and for all these books we have 45.
Yes.
I don't remember, but I think that.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And next time, go ahead, Svetlana.
And what about difficulty of the reading? We have a book, the first stage, but it's not a difficult book.
That's good.
It's вот в самый раз для нас, it's
Yes.
our size of the
Yes, yes, yes. It's an adaptation for our level.
yes,
Mhm.
it's our level.
Yes.
And I hope that in the future we can read more difficultly.
Yes. 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 I'm sure that if you continue reading, it will lead to more difficult levels. Mm-hmm. Do you have any other questions about literature or these books or other books?
Maybe,
Yes.
do you read classical books, and what what country classic you read?
That's a good question. Unfortunately, like Yelena, my time for reading now is less than what it was when I was younger, as I already said. But I really like to read classics. And I like to read classics in the original language, if possible. It's not possible for many languages, but for example, when I can read French literature in the original. And so I try to read any literature that's French, I read in the original. Russian literature is much more difficult, but that's an interesting question because let's see, what have I read that's Russian? I have not read a great deal of Russian literature, but I have read Anna Karenina by Tolstoy
In original?
in English. But this is what's interesting. I read that when I read it long before I started studying Russian. When I was maybe 14, 15 maybe. And it was difficult for me at that age, even in English. But I recently found a copy of it in the original online because this was horrible. I was at the university, and when you write, it can be good to incorporate citations in your writing, citations or quotes, okay? Citations, you know what citations are? It's a small chunk taken from an author that you put in your writing. So you're writing maybe an essay, and you take a quote, yes? Do you understand what a quote is? Svetlana understands. No?
Translate this.
Yes, okay. A citation is a small, maybe one sentence, one line that you put in your own writing. So you say, Tolstoy said, and then you give a little bit. Do you understand also, Yelena? A citation?
Цитату я поняла, а вот
Okay.
quotes.
Quotes, it's the same thing. Citations are quotes from a book. Quotes from a story, novel, book, another author. Something someone else said or wrote. It's something someone else said or wrote that you use in your writing. Okay? So I was in school, I was in a class, and we looked at someone's piece of writing, and she used a quote from Tolstoy's novel Anna Karenina, but she only used half of it. She used the most famous quote. She said, every happy family is the same. And that's all. That's all she used. She didn't say, but every unhappy family is unique in its own way, or however they've translated it. And I looked at this on the screen. We were analyzing her writing, and most of the students in the class were students of French. They were not students of Russian. There were a couple Russians in the class. But I looked at that quote, and we were evaluating. We were evaluating this other person's writing. And I immediately said, no, you can't do that, because she distorted the quote. She used it very badly. And so then I wanted to know, what is this in Russian? So I found a copy of Anna Karenina online, and I began to read it in Russian, a very little bit, but it's very slow. Yes, Svetlana.
Did you study Anna Karenina in the school?
No.
No.
I read it myself, just because I wanted to.
But
I found a copy.
but you evaluating you talk about evaluating for
yes. This was a let's see, what were we looking at? This was completely different. It wasn't a literature class. It was a teaching class, and we were learning how to write. Let's see, what were we writing? Teaching philosophies. We were writing teaching philosophies, and one technique in writing a teaching philosophy can be to use a quote. You can center your philosophy around maybe one quote. And so we were looking at an example of a teaching philosophy that someone wrote. And she, for some reason, decided to use this half of this famous quote from Tolstoy. And my opinion was, no, you cannot use one half of a quote. Especially if you use it badly.
Okay,
So,
you can have opinion in literature, and you cannot have the opinion in philosophy. In the philosophy, you must describe opinion of the
about teaching.
other. Yes.
Oh, yes, yes. The teaching philosophy is what do I believe about teaching? And so we were looking at examples. You know, what does a teaching philosophy? Because we were training to write a teaching philosophy. We were learning to write a teaching philosophy in order to eventually apply for PhD positions or professorships. Universities require a teaching philosophy. A statement of teaching philosophy. And I just recognized the quote. She said, the author of this teaching philosophy said, Tolstoy says, and then gave half the quote. And so my criticism was, she is a professor, or she is soon to be a professor. If she sends this to a university and they see half of a quote of very famous literature, what are they going to think of her? Especially if she did not use it well. So I said, no. Don't use half of a quote. It doesn't matter if you're not in the Russian department. Professors or people who have read many books, or maybe even if they haven't read this book, you say Tolstoy, and they think, and they go look at what Tolstoy said, and it doesn't go along with what you are saying, and it's just bad. But it made me curious to see how the citation or how the quote read in Russian. I wanted to read it in Russian. Now that I know Russian. When I was 14, I had not studied Russian. So the best that I could do to read Russian literature was to read a translation. And that was okay. It's not the best, but it's okay. And now I know enough Russian that I can read Anna Karenina very, very slowly with a dictionary. Very, very, very slowly. And only with a dictionary. But so the main literature that I read is probably American, English, French, not much German, and in translation. Some Russian, somewhat diverse, but mostly North American and European. Mostly.
Okay.
Yeah. Trying to think if I've read anything else. That's the majority of it. What kinds of literature do you and Yelena read in Russian? Yelena, what kinds of literature, what countries' literature do you read in any language?
Художественная литература, science fiction, fiction literature.
Yes, but what countries are they from? What? Or maybe it doesn't matter. Are they Russian? Is it Russian science fiction?
Russian science fiction. I like brother Strugatsky, Arkady and Boris Strugatsky.
And they write science fiction?
Yes. Very popular science fiction. And other actors know Russia. Stanisław Lem, Polski actor. Polish actor. And Ray Bradbury, Arthur Clarke.
Yes.
is my likest author.
Favorite.
Authors.
Yes. Favorite authors. I'm trying to remember, is Bradbury American or British?
He lives in Sri Lanka now.
So who knows? Oh, he's American.
He is American, but
Yes.
to go to Sri Lanka and live
Yes.
there.
Yes.
Here.
What about you, Svetlana? What nationalities or what?
When I read books, I don't
Consider or think about?
I don't think about country and language of
The
the book.
original, yes, the original
But
language.
I have a favorite author in the science. Это называется. Все, мне фантастика хочется. Science fiction.
Yes.
And the science fiction. Ray Bradbury. It's a very interesting author, but his books is strange.
Yes. They are a little strange.
And I think that the book foreign book and foreign language have distortion.
Yes.
Have distortion.
Yes. Are distorted.
Have distorted during the translate.
Yes.
And many and the quality of the description most depends at the person of translator. Because I like Russian book, and I very want learn read in English and read original book, original author.
Yeah. I have a quote that I'd like to consider. This is a quote that I find very interesting. I have studied a little translation. Only French translation. I've studied just French translation. Let me see if I can. Well, okay, I'll have to type it. Just a moment. I tried to copy it, but it didn't. It wouldn't copy. So let me make this a little small. So here's the quote. Oops. Sorry, I messed up the name. Okay, so here's the quote. Translation is that which transforms everything. So, Translation is that which transforms everything so that nothing changes. First of all, do you understand this quote? Translation is that which transforms everything so that nothing changes.
It's impossible.
Yes, Svetlana's reaction is that it's impossible. What do you think, Елена?
Я не знаю, правильно ли я перевела. Перевод искажает до неузнаваемости. Так? Нет?
Well, let's start from the beginning. Translation, you understand. We could also say it, this is less elegant. Translation is what transforms. That doesn't work, no. So you understand translation. Transforms. Do you understand transforms?
Transforms, изменяет.
Yes, everything, so that nothing changes.
Все так, что
Ничего не менять.
Yes, exactly.
Это невозможно. Изменить, но не менять.
я думаю, я не могу понять. Вроде бы написано прямо наоборот.
It does seem to be upside down, doesn't it? So Svetlana says it's not possible. Елена, what do you think?
I think it's impossible too.
You think it's impossible to do? Svetlana, why do you think that it's impossible?
I think it's impossible because if I transforms, that it means I change. And what does it mean? What was about Graf Ganter?
I'm sorry, what about what?
Graf Ganter.
Oh, yes, Graf Gunter, yes.
Graf Ganter.
Yes.
I don't know. Grass.
It's a name. It's a German name. He's a famous German author. Very famous German author. It's a very strange name. Yes, yes. Yes, this is a quote. I understand. I understand. I'm sorry. It's not. It's Graf Gunter. Graf Gunter. It's a name. I should have said that at the beginning. I'm sorry. That won't translate. Graf Gunter wrote a lot of famous German literature. It's very strange, I think, but I haven't read much of it. He was born in 1927. He is a Nobel Prize winner in literature. In 1999. I think he's still alive. He was born in Poland, but he is considered a German author. Yes. Apparently he has written a lot. Here's a small summary of what he has written. So he is a German novelist. He's also a poet, a playwright. That means he writes plays. Apparently he's a graphic artist. I didn't know that. A sculptor, and he is the recipient of the 1999 Nobel Prize in Literature. Apparently, he's considered Germany's most famous living writer. He's still alive. But, yes, I agree with both of you that I think that translation is absolutely impossible without you can't transform something. I mean, this is the goal of translation, I think. But I think that it is an impossible goal. Yeah. Okay, we're going to look at another famous quote. I'm fascinated with translation. Here's another quote. And we'll see what you think of this. This is by, oops. Translation is at best an echo. Svetlana is nodding her head. You agree with that?
The first text I most like first couch.
I like the first citation better.
Citation, yes. I like the first citation better.
Why is that?
The second citation.
Mm-hmm.
Citation. The second
Yes.
citation is very line, прямолинейно.
Yes, yes. It's a very self-evident. It's very self-evident. Mm-hmm. Yes. What do you think, Elena? Which citation do you like better, the first or the second?
First, sensation.
Yes.
Sensation.
First sensation is paradox. Beautiful phrase, but not dry.
Yes, not possible.
Two sensation is, как это сказать, виртуозно. Слишком.
In short,
Not short.
Virtuosely. I think George Byron like beautiful phrase.
virtuously. It's virtuously is not the right. Oh, virtuously refers to virtue.
Звучит красиво, но лишено смысла.
So it sounds nice, but richement. I'm trying to think how I would say that. Yes, it has no meaning, or it has little meaning.
Sounds nice, but not idea.
Yes, there's not a deep thought. There's no deep thought behind it.
It's about second citation, but it's about the first citation.
First or second?
Second.
The second one. Okay. I have one more that I'd like to discuss because I think it's kind of, well, I think it's funny, but we'll see what you think. I'm sorry, it won't let me copy and paste these. I hope you think that it's funny. Okay, see what you think of that one. The second part should read, it is most certainly not beautiful. What do you think of that? Quote, translation is like a woman. If it is beautiful, it is not faithful. If it is faithful, it is most certainly not beautiful. First, you have to understand. So translation is like a woman, so it's making a simile. This is called a simile. When you have something is like something else. So translation is like a woman. If it is beautiful, it is not faithful. Faithful. That's a key word, faithful. It means true to the original here. True to the original, or according. What would it be? Changing the same as the original. True to the original, or the same as the original. So if it is beautiful, it is not faithful. If the writing is beautiful. If it is faithful, it is most certainly not beautiful. Do you think that this is always true? So if you read a translation of an English work, faithful, maybe I can help with that. Faithful is let's see. Verni. Verni would be faithful. Elena, have you understood this quote?
I translate. This is debatable.
It's debatable. Svetlana, what do you think? Have you understood the quote also, Svetlana?
I don't know what does it mean. Faithful.
Verni.
Верный.
Verni.
Okay,
Verni.
I understand. It's
Шовинист.
But.
Yes, I don't deny it.
I hear one situation. Maybe help me, please.
Yes, I'm sorry. Citation, or you can just say quote. Quote. Quote.
What?
Yes, quote.
I hear one.
Oh, you have heard a quote.
Situation, but I don't know who is author, and I try translate them.
Yes. Yes.
And now I try write this.
Okay.
Maybe it's not correct.
That's okay, but that's fine, not a problem.
Yeah.
So Yelena thinks that Yevtushenko's quote is debatable. And Svetlana says that he's a chauvinist.
I cannot do.
Oh, you can't. You can't put it
Перевод
up.
прекрасная женщина. Если она прекрасна, она не верна. Если она верна, то, конечно, не может быть прекрасной.
Yes. What an awful quote. But thinking about translation, you said that it may not always be the case, Elena? You think that it's possible to find a beautiful and faithful version?
Это ерунда.
It is complete nonsense.
About translation.
Yes. So you think that there is a beautiful
Translation may be beautiful and findful.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Девчонка кокетничает.
Are you typing the quote on the board, Svetlana?
Not. Maybe I don't.
Oh yes, tell. Yes. I'll type it.
To translate from one language another.
Say it again. To translate.
To translate from one language another.
Yes.
And the same way, water to remove from its skin, to transport through border, and to dress in a national suit.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so to translate from one language to another is the same as, sorry, I'm typing it as you tell me.
Remove skin,
As
remove,
is the same as removing.
removing skin, transport through границу.
Yes,
Border.
across the border.
Cross the border, and to dress in a national suit.
Yeah, that's a very good quote. Is the same as removing one's. This should be one's. Just a moment. Moving. Oops. Oh, let's write it again. Is the same as removing one's skin, transporting across the border, and dressing in a national skin. So something like this. To translate from
not skin, suit.
Oh,
National
colors.
Dress.
Oh, yes, national dress. Removing one's. It's not skin.
No. Removing skin.
Oh, I see. Removing one's skin. So here's skin.
And dressing in national
costume. Costume. That's a very interesting quote. Milena, have you understood yet? Just a moment, I'm going to see. Okay.
Перевод на другие языки то же самое, как removing skin. Вот translate.
Это кожа. Кожа? Нет.
Skin, кожа.
Кожа. I remembered.
То
To
же
remove
самое,
one's
как
skin,
сменить кожу.
taking it across the border. Это как убрать кожу. Нет, кожу. Убрать кожу. Transporting across the border to another country and dressing it in national costume. You understand removing skin. You understand removing skin, yes. Елена, you understand removing skin, removing one's skin.
Не до конца.
So,
Across.
oh, across, это через. Через границу. Across the border. to another country with a new language.
What translate one skin? Один skin. Skin.
Ну, почему one skin, я не знаю. Maybe.
Чем тут one
Yes,
skin?
Why
Svetlana.
one skin? Maybe removing skin? Или
Why did I have to? Well,
У него их несколько.
just a moment. Let me see if I'll explain why I had to use ones, but I'm going to see.
Переехать через границу и надеть национальный костюм. Я как-то не понимаю, в чем тут соль-то.
It's about the difficult adaptation. Translate text, books, translate. Как произведение по-английски, Эбби?
Проводит? Нет.
Произведение, нет. Вот. Not book, book это книга, да, а вот I read what? I read what?
You're reading a novel. Maybe a novel or not literature.
Роман, повесть.
Yes. What's the word again? По-русски еще раз, пожалуйста.
Произведение, роман, повесть, эссе. Одним словом, это как?
Work. I know it's a very, very difficult word to translate in English. Most frequently, we would use literature to mean all writings.
Writings?
Literature or writing. You could just say writing.
Writing?
Yes. Or a work of literature. Произведение, the very or a written work.
Maybe.
Yeah. It is very difficult.
It's
to
about
translate.
difficult translate writing work from one language to other language, and adaptation for
Cultural.
For reader. I am reader. I read the book because we have all nation have mentality, and I can not
Understand
other nation, other nation without adaptation. And translator is a very difficult work.
So, Svetlana, to answer your question about one's skin,
yes,
you either have to use is the same as removing one's skin, just anyone's skin, or its skin. But since this is impersonal, there's no book described in the first part. It just says to translate, not to translate a book. It says to translate in general from one language to another is the same as removing one's skin. But you remember that in English, we don't like to have unstated subjects. So there should be no unstated subjects. it doesn't feel right. That's a horrible reason to give a student, and I'm sorry, but you have to express whose skin. If we just say skin, I think, well, whose? But maybe we don't know. And if we don't know whose skin, we just say one's skin. And that means that there's somebody's skin who's being taken off, and we don't care whose. It's this work that is being translated because we are making it look like a person, or we're anthropomorphizing it, making it have characteristics of a person. And so we refer to it as a person, even though we know that it's a book, a novel, a story. But we're pretending it's a person, so we will use one's as though it is a person. And we have to express that it is a person, so we say one's skin, as opposed to just skin. It just doesn't sound right. So think of it like subjects. In English, you need a subject. Here, the skin must belong to someone, even if we don't know who it is. So if we don't know who it is, we'll say one's. Okay?
Okay, I understand.
And that's the best explanation I can make. It bothers an English speaker not to have somebody for this skin to belong to. I think that this is a very interesting quote because it addresses the problem of culture. That each language has at least one, if not more, cultures that are very different from the culture of another language. Even talking about one's skin in English has a very different understanding of expressing the other person. That it has to be expressed, even if we don't know or care who it is. It's very different from the Russian, where you could just say kozha. And we understand that it's somebody's, but...
The translator must well know two cultures.
Yeah.
For make a good translator.
Yes. The translator must know two cultures very well in order to make a good translation. I agree with that. 100%. Thanks. From trying to translate myself, I know that it's true. It's very difficult. Do you have you understood this yet, Yelena? It's still not clear.
I think I understand.
Yes. The translation, we are pretending the translation is a person, you know. And when you translate a work from one language and culture to another language and culture, it's like you're taking a person's skin off, moving them to another country, and dressing them up like a person from that country, putting clothes on them to look like that other country. It's all of the cultural and national information, understanding that belongs to a language, and they're different between languages. Very interesting. But at the same time, I think that we should read books in translation when we can't read the original. I don't think, and I also think Well, I'm curious to see what you think. Yelena said that she thinks sometimes translation can be beautiful and faithful, unlike Yevtushenko's thought. Do you think that translation is harder or easier than writing in the original, like just writing a novel? What do you think? Do you have an opinion? Yes, of course. Do you think that translation is harder or easier than writing the original? Do you think that translation is harder or easier than writing the original work?
Translation is harder than
Writing?
Writing original foreign language.
In your native language. In your native language. Or in whatever language. Writing the original in whatever language, native or foreign.
Translation is harder than writing the original.
You think that
because when you write the text for anything language, you write
in your head?
Our thing.
Yes.
When you translate, you to try understand other things and take that other people to
yes.
other people.
Yes, take it to other people. Convey it. You are trying to convey it to other people.
Convey.
That's to take from yourself and give to another, is to convey.
Convey the conversation?
No, because usually convey is only with meaning. You can convey the meaning of a quote or the meaning of a novel or the content. You can convey the content of a work if you're translating it. But it's usually mental concepts that you convey. Elena, what do you think? Do you agree with Svetlana?
I agree. I think when I said for other language, I want to sing for him. And if I don't sing for English and no understand.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that you're right. I think I agree with both of you, Svetlana and Elena. The translation is probably more difficult even than writing in the original. It's hard, first of all, to understand what the author was thinking. I think some translations are poor because the translator doesn't properly understand the author. But other translations are poor or difficult to make. It's difficult to translate some works because it's hard to make them beautiful and faithful in a different language, because it's always going to be a balancing act. How faithful do I stay to the original wording? How important is that for the meaning? And how beautiful can I make it? How smooth? how natural can I make it? It's some faithful translations do not sound natural sometimes, and that's a very important element. I think that we will close our discussion of literature for today and translations, but thank you for your thoughts. I really enjoyed discussing translation with both of you. Are you feeling any better, Yelena? You look a little better today. Do you still have a cold?
Oh, yes. I have a cold.
Oh, well,
Now better.
yes. No better?
Better.
Oh, you are better. Oh, good. You look a little bit less tired today. I think that no, I don't think. I know our next class will be on Monday, and I will post the topic to the blog. I will try to do it today so that you have a long time to consider the questions. And I don't know what the topic will be yet, but I'll let you know, okay?
Don't understand.
Okay. I will try to post the topic for Monday on the blog this evening so that you have enough time to do it at your convenience when you have free time. I will post the questions. Yes. When you
It was posted about our free time?
No, I don't know what it will be yet, but I will post it soon. I will not post it Sunday night. I will post it soon so that you have time. You have time to consider the questions. I will try to post it today or at latest tomorrow morning for me. Okay?
Okay.
Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
I'll see you Monday. Bye.
Hey,
Hi, Katya.
how are you?
I'm doing great, and you?
Ah, yeah, I'm good. So, I have just returned from Prague. You got to tell you?
No, he told me that you were in Prague, but I didn't know when you got back.
Oh, yeah. Just 2 days ago I came back and I was studying there. So I
Yep.
Delta. You know what Delta is?
No.
You have never heard?
Well, I don't think so. Maybe I'm not hearing you correctly. There's a little bit of an echo.
Oh, okay.
What is it?
So it's a Cambridge course.
Oh, sure, okay.
Yeah. So it's spelled like C-E-L-C-A.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Celta.
I get
Mhm.
B. So it's like 25% do B, get B.
Wow.
So I get B.
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
yep. That's great.
It has 3 grades, A, B, and pass.
Yep.
So usually just 1% get A, and
Yeah.
no one got A from our group. So
Wow.
so it's kind of difficult
So
to
you
get
did
A.
great. Yeah.
So when I got B, yeah, and
That's fantastic.
oh yeah, and that was really hard work. So I did
Oh,
a lot.
I believe it.
Oh yeah. So I slept just 2 hours every day,
Oh.
and I had just one chance to sleep. It's from Friday to Saturday.
Oh, my
and
goodness.
Saturdays and Sundays we just writing assignments, reading assignments, and lesson planning, and this self-evaluation form and lessons analysis. So it was so challenging and so hard work. I worked so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Really difficult. Everything was in English, of course, because mostly they were like most native speakers there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like people from all over the world, like New Zealand and Australia and British and Ireland,
Wow.
Canada and USA, imagine. So many different accents. So
So it's all in English.
yeah, it's everything in English. The first week was so challenging. The most challenging was the first week. I
The most tired.
crying and crying, you know, like, I want
It's so hard.
I want to quit. I don't want to continue. So I'm too weak. I'm just really God. I cannot do it. That was me, yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah, and now I'm just trying to. So I'm because you know this course they told us a lot about this. You know how to organize class and to do the tasks more interactive to involve students engaged and then
Yes, have them do more.
yeah, and there was mostly about real classes. You know, lessons when the students can work in pairs and groups and teams, and so now it's you know that
It's hard.
Yeah.
Oh, it's hard for online.
Yeah, it's impossible to do, you know, with this pair work and group work.
There's one tool that I've heard about where you can do pairing off students from the class. And I haven't used it yet. The reason that I know about this is because I'm helping, it's Air or something, Adobe Air. I'm helping develop the course down in Austin, and they said that apparently you can do this, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
so.
we know this. We know this. It's Adobe Connect.
Oh, Connect. Yes, that's it. That's
I
it.
to use it actually, but I don't think we can use it because usual support is the USA only. Because I think we wanted to do it, to buy it, but there was kind of problem, and they can do it. That's really Adobe Connect allow you to do pair work and group work and teamwork, and which is good actually.
That's a serious problem. That's a serious problem.
Yeah, that's a serious problem because but anyway, now I'm trying to just think of some activities they can interact between not just the pair work, but group work, but maybe interact, or maybe to work in pairs but in chat.
I definitely need to try to get them working more in chat. But I had an activity that I thought worked fairly well a week ago, and I only had 3 students, so it kind of depends on the size of the class. But it seems I think actually it would work pretty well with a variety of classes. We were discussing pets, and I had found, you know, a fairly typical type exercise where you have student A and student B, and they have different questions. And if you're in a real classroom, an online class, or an offline classroom, you give you pair all of the students up, and you give them part A and part B, and then they ask each other questions. So it was fairly typical. But it doesn't usually work very well online. And I had found this, and I really wanted to use it. So what I ended up doing was I just had 2 parts, and I had 3 students. So I took the first, 5 or 6 questions from one, and privately chatted them to one student. And I took, a couple questions from both lists and sent them to another student, and then about 5 or 6 from the last list that, I hadn't given anyone, and gave that to the 3rd student. And then I had them, so this was Svetlana, Yelena, and Sergey, and I had them ask each other questions. And so I let them decide who they asked, usually, and I kept going through the order trying to ask them, so I would ask Sergey, Svetlana, Yelena, Sergey, Svetlana, Yelena, and they alternated who they asked the question to. So if Sergey asked a question, first he would ask Svetlana, and the next time it was his turn, he would ask Yelena. So they were talking to different people.
Okay.
And it seemed to work really well. And then they had to both make sure the question was clear, because sometimes the person who was being asked the question didn't understand. And especially if I didn't understand when the question was asked, even knowing what question they maybe were going to ask, I would type it in to help maybe the second time. that they asked the question to give them a little bit more support so that the flow kept going. But it really actually worked quite well to have them each have a separate set of questions. And so I thought that was kind of, I didn't know how it would work. It seemed to work fairly well.
Oh,
So
yeah.
at least for questions, it was better. And then I was able to stay back a little bit more and facilitate their questions, but not be the main focus of the classroom. So that was better.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I'll try to do that.
Okay. Just, yeah, and I'm trying to, because, you know, I'm trying to now to do some presentations for you and maybe for teachers who will work with us, like for Polly and for Yen too. Just,
Yes.
you know, because I'm trying to work on this, like, methodology, you know?
Yes.
Just how to organize the lesson, and I'm going to help you in some materials.
Oh, that will be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, you know, so today I was thinking about it, and I'm going to do this. And I hope I will do it by, like, Saturday or Sunday. Yeah, and we will talk, and I will tell you some tasks and activities. We will decide on topics, like do the syllabus. And
That would be great.
yeah, because, you know, I feel that we need some kind of techniques, like, you know, the techniques that everyone can use.
Yes,
Like
I totally agree.
That work with online, because I, you know, during this course, I saw just there are a lot of techniques to use in a classroom, maybe 5 or maybe 7 or 10. And an average teacher usually uses just 3 or 4,
Yeah.
but they're good, and it helps, and the teacher and the learners, and I think we to have this kind of tactics, yes?
Yes.
And also some kind of activities which work good, because, you know, we have blog and we have chat, and chat actually is really good stuff. Students, you don't have to practice writing on the lesson, because they can use all the time chat, and this is writing. Actually, this is okay. They write all the time. They can do it.
Yes.
For example, instead of just listen to someone, they can write something. Yes. But
Yes.
they need to have a reason.
Yes.
Like so this is all about that. So I'm just trying, you know, to
think about how to implement, yes, and organize and collect ideas, and
yeah. So when I'm just want to see how it works. Because you know, they have no idea how to teach online, so no one actually knows it.
I know. I've been realizing this as I work with the Austin team on the Russian stuff. We start thinking, and one of the reasons is that they wanted me on the team is because I have a little experience teaching online and even learning online when I was in high school. And so they were like, well, and also I know about communicative approach, you know, and so they liked that too. And they said, you know, let's all get together. And so we started talking, and I was like, well, you know, as I'm collaborating with my colleague in Austin to create Russian exercises, we realized, you know, it's much more restrictive. It's much more difficult. You have fewer techniques available when you're in an online classroom, and so it's just like we're racking our brains. We're like, what can we do?
Yeah, because, you know, actually there are not a lot of, because you can find a lot of stuff using some like lesson plans and techniques, activities for usual class.
Yes.
And not a lot
for online classes.
Nothing is online, because now a lot of teachers teach online actually, but they use Skype, and with Skype, you cannot do live, just talk. And here you can show everything, like listen.
Yes, you've got the whiteboard. You can be typing things in the chat box.
Oh yeah, exactly. So now I'm trying just to, you know, to organize all this stuff.
Yes.
Just try to to do it maybe more dynamic, more intensive, and help you and help like teachers, because I also teach online, and sometimes it's so challenging.
Yes. Yeah.
So we'll talk.
Yay! We will be talking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Эй, привет.
Hi, Kostya. Как дела?
Thank you very much. See you.
We need to turn on the recording. Turn off
What's that? What's that? I'm sorry?
turn off the recording, I think.
Oh. Oh my goodness.